So what is the difference between the AIP and an anti-inflammatory diet? They are very, very different things, and it's day 22 of showing anti-inflammatory tips every single day. So I'm going to cover it for you. Both diets can help reduce inflammation, but one of them is extreme and more about finding out what your trigger foods are, versus the other, which is more about just eating more nutritious food. So the AIP is the autoimmune protocol. It's for people with autoimmune conditions or similar. I have endometriosis, which is why I did it, and I also was definitely intolerant to foods. I just couldn't figure out which one. Even when I was eating a whole food healthy diet, I was still having these huge bouts of inflammation. So that's why I ended up doing the AIP. I wanted to find out what my trigger foods were, so I eliminated a ton of things out of my diet. There's a specific protocol to follow. By the way, I'm doing a free webinar to explain exactly the difference between them both and who they're for if you want a more in-depth talk. But essentially, you remove all of these things out of your diet and then one by one reintroduce them in to see which one causes your flare-ups. For me, it was chili flakes, chickpeas, and ultra-processed foods mainly, a couple of other little ones. That is how the AIP differs from an anti-inflammatory diet. Chilies and chickpeas are actually really healthy for you. They've got a ton of benefit, but for me and my body, they just do not work. So think of the AIP as a way to find out what your trigger foods are, versus the anti-inflammatory diet, which I think everyone should be doing. And that's focusing on whole food that are nutritious, balanced micronutrients, and making sure you're also getting enough micronutrients, which is pretty easy to do when you're just following a whole food diet. Whole food means one ingredient, so think meat, fish, fruit, veg, nuts, seeds, grains, legumes, and less of the ultra processed stuff. If you want to know more, just come to the webinar. I'll be talking more about it there, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 23. Bye.